Somerset moved up to third place in the South Group table of the NatWest T20 Blast with another high-scoring victory, this time defeating Hampshire by 14 runs in Taunton. Batting first, the home team got off to an extraordinary start. The second over of the innings bringing Lewis Gregory and Stephen Davis 25 runs at the expense of Kyle Abbott. It was Gregory who kicked things off with a couple of boundaries along the ground, leaving it to Davis to hit the first six of plenty on a very entertaining night in front of the usual good Taunton crowd. And they were soon being royally entertained, with the two openers going hell for leather with boundaries flowing, the 50-run partnership being brought up off only 19 legal deliveries. By the time Davis helped Shade Afridi into the crowd, an opening stand of 71 had been made in only 4.5 overs, and the excitement was growing fast. But Davis was out to the next ball, finding a relieved James Vince at mid-on to depart with a job well done, albeit a cameo, the opener's 32 runs occupying just 13 balls. Gregory went on to make 43 off just 20, this the last of his 9 boundaries, which had his side on a score of 83 at the end of the 6 overs of power play. Alas, Gregory was out to the last ball of the 6th over, Gareth Berg with the wicket, which was completed by Sean Irvine in the deep. Peter Trigo didn't last long, out for 8 as he found George Bailey off Brad Wheel. And all that did was bring in the informed James Hildreth, who continued where he left off in the win over Middlesex by helping Afridi into the distance just after Somerset had reached the halfway stage of their innings, already with 111 runs on the board. Hildreth cleared the rope again in the spinner's next over just after Jim Allenby had done the same, this pair speedily adding 44 runs for the 4th wicket. Hildreth's contribution to that was 25. He was then bowled by Berg to leave with his team still very well placed on 147 for 4 at the start of the 14th over. Corey Anderson lasted just a couple of balls, Berg and Irving combining again to see him out for a single, as Somerset suffered a mini collapse just to slow things down. Berg was replaced by Rhys Topley, who immediately dismissed Allenby for a patient 37, his innings the glue to hold things together while the hitters played around him. Just when Hampshire were getting a grip on things, along came the 17th over, and this was the one which again turned things Somerset's way. Michael Leask and Roelof van der Merwe went to town on Brad Wheel, 3 maximums being struck in an over which went for 20 runs and pretty much guaranteed that the home team would pass 200 for a second time in this competition this year. Van der Merwe fell at the start of the 18th for 15, Abbott making amends for his disastrous start with the run out which left Somerset on 189 for 7. That became 190 for 8 2 balls later as Abbott bowled Leask for 13. And it was 3 in the over when Tim Groeneval was out for a duck, leaving it to Craig Overton and Max Waller to run well at the end to take their team to a final score of 204 for 9. Chasing anything at more than 10 runs per over is always a tough ask, whatever the conditions, and it got tougher for the visitors as Overton struck his second ball to remove Rile Russo for a couple, Gregory with the catch. Vince briefly threatened in smashing 7 fours in his 15-ball 33 to hurry the total along to 36 midway through the 4th over. But he was then bowled by Gregory, a man who was difficult to keep out of the game at this point of the evening. Crucially, Bailey didn't hang around for long, his stumps being disturbed by Groeneval, the pick of the attack, as Hampshire slipped to 43 for 3 in the 5th. 51 runs were made off the power play, leaving the visitors right behind the 8-ball. Michael Carberry took 3 fours off 3 successive balls from Gregory, but in spite of that, Hampshire was still behind the required run rate. Halfway through the chase, they had 93 runs on the board, but also had lost Irvine to van der Merwe, another bowler to benefit from bowling straight and letting the batsman make the error. Then, almost immediately, the big wicket of the hard-hitting Carberry, run out after a mix-up in the middle for 30, and with his wicket went any chance of the result being anything other than a Somerset victory. Afridi threatened with 1-6 in his 18 before being another batsman to hear the death rattle as he was bowled by Waller at 129 for 6 with 76 still needed from 7. That may have been possible with more wickets in hand, but as it was, Lewis McManus gave Waller his second success after making a quick-fire 34. Abbott, having cleared the ropes off Groeneval, was out next ball, picking out Overton. Topley was the 5th man of the innings to be castled. More success for van der Merwe. And in the last over, which began with Hampshire needing 22, Berg was run out trying to keep hold of the strike for a sprightly 31. Waller's throw completing the contest and giving Somerset a third successive win from completed matches. Hampshire were all out for 190, the victory secured by 14 runs to place Somerset into third place in the South Group table, ahead of their next match against Kent in Canterbury on Thursday. The next home game coming on Sunday against Sussex, and we would love to see you there.